Are you ready?
Hey peeps, how's it going? I told you guys that I have a Lions video for you guys today, although I probably should have saved it for Sunday since there is no Lions football. We'll see what I'm going to do Sunday. I don't know what I'm doing for Sunday yet. But we are talking about Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. But before we do, we got to break some stuff down. Obviously, no games for the Lions this week. It's a bye week. Came at probably the perfect timing. I said this on the DSA roundtable that when we first seen the schedule in the early bye week, we're like, man, why do we always get the early bye weeks? Well, in this case, it proved us wrong because it doesn't matter when your bye week is. It's when you need it. And guess what? We needed it this early in the season with all the injuries, especially to our key players like Slay, Quandre Diggs, and Matthew Stafford. Those are really the big three. But there are several other players that we are expecting to come back after this bye week. Hence Mike Daniels, Deshaun Hands still questionable. So, I mean, you got Damian Amendola hurt. I mean, there's the list goes on and on. I could sit here and make a 10-minute video about who we all need to come back. But it's coming at the right time, you know, because it gave us 2 weeks to prepare for the biggest rival probably in our history, the Green Bay Packers. We have to watch this Cowboys versus Packers game very, very closely. If you're watching this before this game, good. If you're watching it afterwards, you know, we'll see how true I am. Because we have to play both of these opponents this month. I believe we play both of them this month. Or maybe it's Cowboys the next month. Either way, we have to play both of these teams this year. We know what Dallas can do. Dallas is going to run the ball with Zeke. Your goal is to take Zeke away and make Dak Prescott beat you, which 9 times out of 10 he is not going to be able to do. However, Green Bay's defense is going to be put to the test against this team because I don't know if they're going to have the weapons to stop Ezekiel Elliott. And when you can't stop Ezekiel Elliott, it opens up things for Dak Prescott. Amari Cooper should have a fairly decent game. Ezekiel Elliott, he's probably going to go off. It's Aaron Rodgers or bust for the Green Bay Packers. You know, their defense is not good. The receiving core is all right. They pretty much got Adams. Jimmy Graham's pretty much a shell of his former self. You know, ever since he left Green Bay, or not Green Bay, but ever since he left New Orleans, went to Seattle, and now Green Bay, he just hasn't been the same since his New Orleans days. So I would take Adams out of the picture as much as you can. You know, because that is Aaron Rodgers' #1 target. Now, I'm not sold on Green Bay's offensive line. You know, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers. So that is something we are going to have to observe from this week to formulate into our game plan. Because you're going to have good film against both of these teams because this should be a pretty decent game. You know, there is a whole rivalry going on since they played in the playoffs where they took that catch away from Dez Bryant. You know, it's been kind of a rivalry ever since then. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. It should be good TV. But the Cowboys, I think, are the favorites to win it. Now, I don't think that they're going to blow Green Bay out of the water or anything like that. But it should be a pretty close, fun, entertaining game. I'm not sure if it's in Green Bay or in Dallas. But it is what it is. I really don't care who's going to win. Obviously, I'm not going to say this too many times, but I'm pulling for the Cowboys just for the Lions fans out there. So that will probably be the only time you're going to hear me root for the Cowboys. It's tough because I do not like either one of those teams at all. So let's talk about what the Lions need to do because that's why I'm here. Obviously, #1, you have to get healthy. Your quarterback is banged up and possibly played one of his greatest games, not just of the season, not just of the last 5 years, but maybe of his career. Stafford played that entire game hurt and outplayed an MVP. I know I'm not going to keep bringing that up, but it's fun to say. That being said, you're pretty much going to be able to do whatever you want offensively against Green Bay. You need to keep this run game going. If you could have 2 weeks back-to-back well, I guess technically it's going to be 3 weeks, but in 2 games back to back, have Kerryon Johnson over 100 yards, that is a huge ego boost to this team. Because that means you went out there and played some of the top teams and ran it down their throat. And that's what we're trying to do. You know, offensive line is playing above my expectations. You know, we all had questions about it. The pass rush has not been able to get to Stafford until the Kansas City game. I believe he got sacked 4 times. You know, the previous 2 weeks, he didn't get sacked at all. At all. So that means in 3 games, you give up 4 sacks. You know, that's fairly decent numbers. The running game has been struggling, but against Kansas City, we got it going. So you got to stick to that, because I think Matt Patricia is going to have a fantastic defensive scheme against Aaron Rodgers. And the thing about it is, Green Bay is not going to have the firepower that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to have. Even though the way Kansas City was banged up, they're not going to have as many weapons as the Chiefs. You know, they got Aaron Rodgers and they got Adams, and that's about it. And if Slay's healthy, he's going to take Adams out of the game. And you don't want to keep throwing it to Slay's direction, because sooner or later, you can ask Phillip Rivers, it's going to cost you. You can only target his side of the field so many times without it costing you. It's like playing Russian roulette. So it's going to be very fun to see that matchup if he's healthy. If not, Coleman's been playing out of his mind, worth every nickel, penny, and dime we gave him. So our secondary is stepping up huge. It's going to be very tough for Aaron Rodgers to get those tight fits through there. But, you know, those Hail Marys he got, they work out for him. Pass rush, you got to step it up against him. Mike Daniels, I guarantee he's going to play, even if he's got to go out there on a wheelchair and pull a Paul Pierce. He is going to want to put on a show against his former team. And I think it's more important for Mike Daniels to play in this game than maybe any other one, because this is probably going to be Mike Daniels' best game of the season. Now, we do play Green Bay last game of the season yet again, but that is in Detroit. You know, you can only play in Green Bay once a year. So he's gonna play, I almost guarantee it, and he's gonna go out there, he's gonna give it all he's got. You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if he misses the week after that, but we'll see what happens. We will definitely see what happens. But this defense is going to have a big game. And I think the offense is going to have an even bigger game, because I just don't see anyone on Green Bay's defense, whether it's the front 7 or the secondary, that's going to slow anyone down. I mean, we should walk stop a mud hole and walk it dry. This should be a must-win game for the Detroit Lions. If they do not win this game, oh boy, you know, I don't want to curse it, but every time I picked against the Lions, they either played a really supreme game or they won. Well, I'm picking the Lions this time. I hope the reverse psychology doesn't, play against us, because there's no excuse for the Lions to lose this game unless a key player is out. And even then, we should have a pretty good game. Only thing that's going to stop the Lions from going into Green Bay, stopping a mud hole and walking it dry, is weather. If it's cold and rainy, or if that S-word snow comes out there, I know it's only October, but snow is right around the corner. I don't know. I think Patricia should have these guys practicing outside and getting ready for anything, because Green Bay is like Michigan. You never know what the next day weather-wise is going to be like. So, I mean, it's a big game, man. And don't just think we're going to go in there and take butts and kick some names. It's going to be a dogfight, because it is a rivalry game. Very, very, very rarely do rival games turn out to blowouts. So it's going to be a tough, hard-fought game. And I think that Green Bay, depending on what they do against the Cowboys, it's going to be a must-win game for them as well. So it's going to be very fun, man. This is good football. I know a lot of people are now predicting the Lions to win their division. The Lions are for real now, man. I think they've fully bought in on Patricia, and they look like a different team than they did the first couple weeks. They're getting better, and I can't wait, man. This bye week seems like it's taking forever. So I guess leave it down in the comments, man. What do you guys want to see the Lions do, or hope that they need to do to beat the Green Bay Packers? It's going to be very, very interesting to see what the Cheeseheads have to do to prevent whatever's going to happen. It might be a very, very rough month for the Green Bay Packers. So we will see. It's fun to watch. I like watching them lose. But with that being said, Instagram and Twitter in the description. Also, all DSA members in there as well. So be sure to check all them out. And I'll see you peeps in the next one. Peace.